Hello, good morning dear students. Welcome back once again. So in last video, we saw and discussed about refraction of light through prism. And there we saw a new term, that is deviation, angle of deviation. And we have already learned that the total angle of deviation produced by the light while suffering refraction through glass prism, and its expression is delta is equal to I1 plus I2 minus A, where I1 is the angle of incidence, I2 is the angle of emergence, and A is the angle of prism or refracting angle. So it means here the deviation depends on angle of incidence, angle of emergence, and angle of the prism itself. So now the one fact is that since for a given prism its angle is fixed, it means we may consider its angle is constant. So for a constant, so since angle of prism is constant, so it is not going to be changed. So the deviation produced through refraction in a prism can be changed either by changing the angle of incidence or angle of emergence or both, isn't it? So how it could be done? Now we have already seen that the light is generally incident on the prism through a particular direction. So to change the angle of incidence and angle of emergence, now here angle of emergence depends on angle of incidence. We don't need to change the angle of emergence. If we change, because for a particular angle of incidence, we get a particular angle of emergence. So now if we change the angle of incidence, automatically angle of emergence will be changed. So here only we need to change the angle of incidence. And how it could be done? Now it doesn't mean that each and every case we will just change the direction of the incident light, because it is not possible. Because to get the angle of incidence or to get the incident light, we generally take the prism and generally we keep it or generally place it in front of a monochromatic light, a very thin source of light. It may be through closed window or closed door. Then it is not possible at first to take the prism through window, then go to the first floor, then go to second floor to change the angle of incidence. So how it could be done? Very simply, keeping the direction of the incident light ray, if we rotate the prism, then in this case the direction of the incident light, because the source from which the light will incident, it can be kept unchanged. Keeping the direction of the incident light change, if we rotate the prism, then in that case what will happen? The direction of normal will keep changing. So since direction of normal will change, so obviously angle of incidence will continually change. And due to change of the angle of incidence, angle of emergence will also change. And in this way, the deviation will just change. Here the one interesting fact is that, today we will discuss about the factors affecting angle of deviation. We have already learnt about the deviation, I1 minus I2 minus A. A is nothing but R1 plus R2, that is total of the angle of refraction at the first surface and the angle of refraction at the second surface. So here the factors affecting angle of deviation means the angle of deviation which is produced by the prism depends on which factors? So number one is angle of incidence. That's why main is angle of incidence, as I have told. If we change the angle of incidence, automatically angle of emergence will change. Okay. So the most interesting fact is that how angle of deviation changes with angle of incidence. Now it has been experimentally seen that with the change of angle of incidence, if we increase the angle of incidence at first the deviation is generally if we increase the value of angle of incidence from 0, gradually if we increase, it has been experimentally proved and seen that the angle of deviation at first decreases, then through decreasing it reaches its minimum value, then with further increase of angle of incidence again it starts increasing. Now how is it happening, why is it happening, we will discuss in this video. So keeping the value, plotting, if we plot the value of the deviation with the corresponding change of angle of incidence, we will get a graph or a curve which is called I delta curve. This is called I delta curve. This is called I delta curve. This graph. It means if we plot angle of incidence on x-axis and if we plot the corresponding change of deviation along y-axis, then the graph or curve you will get, it is called I delta curve. And you can see this is hyperbola, isn't it? It is just like hyperbola, isn't it? So it means from this graph you can see, as I have told you, the increase of the angle of incidence. At first angle of deviation decreases, then it reaches its minimum value, then again it increases. So it means you can see this is the angle of deviation. Okay, this represents deviation, and here it is 0. It is the first angle of incidence. Then here in this point it reaches its minimum, isn't it? And it is called delta minimum. It means here, and this only happens for a particular value of angle of incidence, only one and unique. Then it again increases for I2. So for a particular value of angle of incidence, the deviation reaches its minimum value, and the position of the prism will be also, since we rotate the prism continuously. So obviously for a single position, this deviation will be minimum, and this is called angle of minimum deviation, and the position of the prism is called position of minimum deviation. Clear? Very easy. Since you can see with the increase of the value of the angle of incidence, deviation is decreasing. Then at this point it reaches minimum value, then again it increases. So if we draw a normal on the x-axis, we will get a particular value of angle of incidence. So since here the angle of incidence has a particular value, definite value, single value, so obviously the position of the prism will be also a unique, that is only one position. This angle is called angle of minimum deviation, delta minimum, and position is called position of minimum deviation. So from the graph, as you can see the graph, okay, so as we have learned that now this is AB, okay, this is the length of AB, where the coordinates of the point A is I1 delta, whereas B is I2 delta. It means that deviation is same for two angles, I1 and I2. When angle of incidence is I1, deviation is also delta, and when angle of incidence or angle of emergence is I2, again it is delta. So for two values of angle of incidence or angle of emergence, this is angle of incidence at the first surface, this is the angle of emergence of second surface. So for two values of angle of incidence, if we reverse the direction of the light, isn't it? At first light is incident from here, then if we reverse the direction of the light, we may flash the torchlight here, so light will trace the same path we trace. So in this case I2 will be angle of incidence and I1 will be angle of emergence, which is based on principle of reversibility of light. So for two angle of incidence, value is same, this is delta, clear, parallel, no change. So here is delta, here is delta, where this is I1, this is I2, clear. So why is it happening? Why at first increases and then again at first decreases, again increases? Why is it happening? What is the reason behind it? Now here if we see, okay, the length of AB, very clear, the length of AB, if we draw normal, that is I2 minus I1, clear. So see very clearly, here the length is AB, so gradually its length is going to decrease, here decreasing, 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 then reaching at this point it will turn into 0. So the length of the straight line AB will turn into 0. A point has no length, so at this point AB is equal to 0. It means we can say I2 is equal to I1, then I1 equals to I2. So that's why in case of minimum deviation, I1 plus I2 equals to 0. Both angle of incidence and angle of emergence become when same, then minimum deviation occurs, that is I0, and in the equation I1 plus I2 is equal to twice I0 minus A. Now why is it happening? It is happening because of pure principle of reversibility of light, nothing else, clear, which is unfortunately out of your syllabus. Okay, it means light changes direction. If we flash a torchlight from here or a source of light here, light will incident in this direction, so for refraction again light will. If we reverse the direction of the light, light will retrace the same, follow the same path. In the first case it is angle of incidence, angle of emergence, again it will be in the second case it will be angle of incidence, angle of emergence. Now let's discuss about why is it happening. This is picture number 1. Okay, because as we have already learned that the delta depends on angle of incidence. If we change the angle of incidence, automatically angle of refraction and emergence will keep continue change, which will turn lead to change the angle of deviation. First picture you can see, and the value of angle of deviation is the value of angle of incidence at the first circuit is 30 degree. Okay. In this case, the angle of prism is all cases 60 degree. It is not going to be changed. You can see through the picture. So R1 is the angle of refraction at the first surface, 20 degree. Okay. Then on the second surface you can see R2, angle of refraction at the second surface is 40 degree, whereas I2 is equal to 75 degree. Clear? Now if we calculate, you can see angle of prism A is equal to R1 plus R2. We have already discussed in the previous video. If you have not seen, please visit to my previous video. So 40 plus 20 is equal to 60 degree. Then what is the deviation? What is the deviation produced by it? Here deviation will be in this case. Okay. The angle, isn't it? The angle produced, the angle generated between the direction of the incident light stretched forward and the emergent ray stretched or elongated backward. So the direction of the incident ray and the direction of the emergent ray, that angle which meet at a point, then the angle they made, they are called angle of deviation. So clearly we can easily find out the value of angle of deviation I1 plus I2 minus A. I1 is equal to 30, I2 is equal to 75, 70 plus 30, 105, isn't it? Minus 60, 45 degree. This is first case. Then 2, figure number B. We will just keep rotate. We will just rotate the prism. Okay. So again, when we rotate, so increasing, so the angle of increase is just increased. Okay. We will just try to match the diagram with the curve, I delta curve. So here angle of incidence is slightly increased. It was 30, then now it is 40 degree. Let what happen. R1 was 20 degree, R2, R1 20 degree, now R1 is 25. R2 was 40 degree, R2 here 35 degrees. Angle of incidence is R1 is just increased by 5 degree, whereas R2 is decreased by 5 degree. So balance. Again you can see 30 plus 35 plus 25. Again it is 60 degree. Since it's a given prism, a prism cannot have two different angle will be same because prism is the same. Only due to change in its direction or rotation, angle of incidence change, which in turn changing R1, R2. R2, look at the angle of emergence I2, 60 degree. Again, what will be the deviation? Okay, this I1 plus I2, 60 plus 40 is equal to 100. 100 minus 60 equals to 40 degree. Now, which clearly, okay, supports the graph. With the increase of angle of incidence, deviation decreases. Look at the deviation. Angle of incidence was 30 degree, now it has been increased. Now previously the deviation was 45 degree, now deviation 40 degree, decreasing. Again next case we will further increase the angle of deviation. Now it's 48 degree. Okay. Now it's 48 degree. Now R1 is equal to 30 degree, 25, it is increased by 5 degree again. Again R2 decreased by 5 degree. Okay. But now again 30 plus 30 is equal to 60 degree. Angle of emergence is 48 degree. Now it is 36 degree angle of deviation. Keep decreasing. 45, 40, 36. Now we will not, okay, we have not still, we cannot say it is which one is angle of minimum deviation. Go to the next graph, next diagram. Next we will again further increase the angle of incidence, 70 degree. R1 is equal to 38 again. There it means with the increase of the angle of incidence, R1 is keep increasing, R2 is decreasing. Again 30 degree, 8 degree. R1 will increase the angle, the value by which R1 will increase by the same amount R2 will decrease, isn't it? 20, 25, 45. R1 is increased by 5 degree, whereas R2 decreased by 5 degree. There again angle of R1 is increased by 5 degree, whereas R2 is decreased by 5 degree, 60. Again it is increased by 8 degree, 38, whereas R2 decreased by 8. 38 plus 22, again 60 degree. Look at the angle of emergence, 33 degree. In this case deviation 43 degree. Now it is increased. I1 30, I1 increase. Deviation 45, 40 decreased. decrease, then again increase. So it means we can say this is the angle of position of the minimum deviation of the prism, and this is the angle of minimum deviation. Why? Decreasing, decreasing, decreasing minimum, then again increasing. 45 degree, then decrease 40 degree, then 36 degree, further decrease, again increase. So it means here this is the position of the of the position of the minimum deviation of the prism. Then in case of minimum deviation, we have already seen, that is angle of incidence equals to angle of emergence. You can see 48 degree, 48 degree. So it is happening due to change of angle of incidence, which will further increases. Change R1, R2, and in case of I2. I1, I2 is total sum is 60 degree, which gives the angle of prism. Due to change in I1, I2 is changing. And why? Due to two values of I1 and I2, deviation is same for two values. This is because of principle of reversibility of light. I1 is equal to 30 degree, I2 is equal to 75 degree. If we flash the light, if light is incident through this direction, everything will be same. You can see in this case I1 is 75 degree, I2 will be 30 degree. Clear? So at first case I1 is 30 degree, I2 is 75 degree. Isn't it? Again here I1 is equal to 40 degree, I2 is equal to 60 degree. If light is incident through this direction, this will be I1, this will be I2. So that's why we are getting same deviation. Deviation will be same. I1 is 30, I2 is 75 degree. When light is incident from this side, deviation is 45 degree. If light is incident through this side, everything is going to be same. I1 is equal to 75, isn't it? This will be R1, this will be R2, this will be I2, deviation is same. So it means deviation 45 degree same when I1 is either 30 degree or I1 is 75 degree, or R2 is either 75 degree or I2 is equal to 30 degree. Hope you have understood. Clear? Deviation 45 degree. When if light is incident through this direction, the value of I1 will be 30 degree. If light is incident through this, I1 will be 75 degree. Isn't it? If light is incident through this direction, R2 is 75 degree. If through this, R2 will be I2. I2 will be in this case I2 is 75 degree, the next case I2 will be 30 degree. So I1 can be either 30 degree or 75 degree. When I1 is 30 degree, I2 is 75 degree. Again when I1 is 75 degree, I2 is 30 degree. So for two values of I1, I2, that's why deviation is same. Again I1, I2, if light is incident through this is I1, this is I2. Two values of angle of incidence, one is 30 degree, one is 75 degree. Both, if I1 is 30 degree or I1 is 75 degree, deviation is same. If I2 is equal to 75 degree or I2 is 30 degree, again angle of deviation is same. So that's why for two values, this is purely because of principle of reversibility of light. That's why for two values of delta is same, nothing else. Clear? So this is the reason behind, with the increase of angle of incidence, at first deviation decreases, then reaches its minimum value, then reaches again started to increase. Now moves on to the next factor, angle of prism. Now consider if the lens, angle of prism. This is the prism, this is angle. Now if angle decrease, means if the prism is very thin, so angle of prism will be less small. If it is thick, then angle of prism will be more. So if for a very thin prism, mu equals to, for diffraction at the first surface, isn't it? Is I1 and I2, I1 and R1. So mu equals to sine I1 by sine R1 due to Snell's law. Mu is equal to sine I1 by sine R1 equals to I1 by R1. Why? Because we know that when theta is very small, then sine theta equals to theta. Sine 4 degree equals to 4 degree, we can write. So this is due to diffraction of light at the first surface, this surface, I1 by R1. So we can write I1 equals to mu R1. Again, due to diffraction of light at second surface, mu is equal to sine I2 by sine R2 again equals to I2 by R2 again. For the thin prism, angle small, I2 equals to mu R2. Now we will put the value from minimum deviation, that is for deviation, I1 plus I2 minus A. That is put the value I1 equals to mu R1 plus mu R2 minus A. Now mu is equal to R1 plus R2 minus A, that is mu A minus A. We have already learned in the previous video, that is angle of prism equals to R1 plus R2. So taking a common, angle of prism common, mu minus 1 into A, which clearly indicates that delta is directly proportional to angle of prism. It means if angle of prism increases, deviation also increases. If angle of prism decreases, deviation also decreases. Now, one thing is very clear that if prism is thick, angle is more, light will bend more, so angle of deviation will be more. Third factor is refractive index. Refractive index means also it is just like angle of the okay. If the prism is not thin, if it is thick, then angle of prism will be more. So delta is directly proportional to refractive index of the material of the glass. More will be refractive index, more will be deviation, less it will be less. Now wavelength. Now since we have already established the relation between mu and lambda, so from here we can easily establish the relation between delta and lambda. Delta is inversely proportional to lambda. Why? Because mu is already inversely proportional to lambda. During beginning of this chapter, that is reflection of light through plane surface, and from Snell's law, that is mu proportional to 1 by b and v is proportional to lambda, so mu proportional to 1 by lambda. So delta proportional to 1 by lambda. If lambda is more, deviation will be less. If lambda is less, deviation will be more. So it means light having less wavelength will deviate more, and the light with more wavelength will deviate less. So it means between violet and the red, since violet has the least wavelength, you may consider it as a weaker person, so it can deviate. One can bend it or move it very easily. So lambda violet. So for violet, light will deviate more since it has less wavelength, whereas red light will deviate less. Okay. So we can write lambda violet. Okay. In terms of deviation. Okay. Delta violet is greater than delta red. So light which has least wavelength, it will deviate more and it will just move, bend, it will just bend towards the base, and the light having greater wavelength, it will just deflect slight, very small. Okay, so this is the factors affecting angle of deviation. Hope you have understood. See you in the next video.